I feel like this right here. How you guys? That law should never, ever, ever, ever touch the table. I didn't give you life, and it's not my stance to try to control yours. Look, I feel like this right here. We cannot. We got to stop that. That's what's wrong with America today. We want to control everything and everybody. That's your body. That's your body. You should be able to say and do what you wish with your body. So when it comes to those, I will just restrict them completely from the law and try to put it in a law where women can do what they wish with their body. You got to stand before God and stand account for what you do. And I got to stand and account for what I do. So, you have people out there doing it just because they don't want to be pregnant. You'll have to be accounted for that. I will not tell you what you can and cannot do. I will not do that. So, and that's just off the table for me. I can't control that. And I won't.
Okay. It looks like somebody went and dug and asked people in Monroe if they knew you. The world is big, y'all. The world is big. Can you imagine living somewhere and everybody don't know? Maybe his motion isn't out there like that yet, and it's going to take a community of people to get behind him so he can be known. That's why we're here, is to get the exposure that he needs to be put in a higher position. See, some of the people...
But here's the thing. Now, I agree with Ms. Nitra. If he is running for any elected position, he should be able to use his local, content creators' platforms to help do that. But he had already admitted that he's not posting what he does in his community on his website. That was noted at like the 25-minute mark. So if somebody's in the comments saying, well, we don't know you, it's because of his own doing. That is because of his own doing. He made it clear, I will not be posting what my community activism on my webpage. He said that. Those were his words. So if people will be like, well, I don't know you. And he has every right to go to any platform and promote himself. But I wouldn't defend him because he had already said, well, I'm not doing that. And he said, I'm not doing interviews either. I decline interviews. So when people are like, well, I don't know you and I'm from Monroe, that is his fault. That's his fault. Why his community doesn't, quote unquote, know him. Right or wrong, chat?
Or quiet for reason. I just think that it takes a team, a community, a village.
Louisiana.
He's not there yet. And that's why he's here to get there. So no, everybody probably don't know him, but we're hoping that by the time 2028 gets here, that he will be known. That's the prayer, is to get him known. How do you feel about things like that when people say, oh, we don't know you? I've Googled you. I don't know you. I've never heard of you. Don't nobody in my town know you. And then you state that you've done all these things and you shut down all these prisons and all that. How do you deal with that type of backlash?
I don't. I let people say what they're going to say, because at the end of the day, Ms. Nitra, one thing.
Hold on, let me read one of your questions. I saw a question pop up. It's by Taylor, the creator. Taylor, the creator, said, why do y'all say he's not a leader or wouldn't vote for him the way he talks, ? Just curious. No, I wouldn't vote for him because of a couple of things. And I'll read you the notes that I wrote. What's up, Empress? Empress, you're going to want to recap this later tonight. So I'll tell you why. Now, let me just give you a recap of what we're listening to. So we're listening to a guy by the name, I'll show you his picture. He was interviewed today on Miss Nitra's panel. His name is John Robert Badger, and he's running for president 2028. So he came to Miss Nitra's platform and she did a sit-down interview with him, and that's what we're listening to. I'll tell you why I won't vote for him. I can't speak for the 602 of you in the building, but I'll speak for myself. One, He stated that he will not be producing any livestock images of his community activism on his website. That's for one. One, I don't live in the state of Louisiana or the city of Monroe, Louisiana, so I don't know what the fuck he does on a daily basis. So if you don't show me your work, I can't prove you're actually doing what you said you did. Two, he's quite ambiguous about his education. Now, education is not important to be president, but if he totes himself as being this well-versed, educated man, I need to see that. He has not produced anything in regards to his education, even though he brags about his education. Okay? He brags about his education, not me. So him saying, well, you can go to website.com and you can search me. Why don't you just publish that on your website? That's a red flag, right? The second thing he stated is that I don't do interviews. So you're running for president of the United States and there's over 330 million active voters and you don't want to do an interview with larger publications. So we'll never know who you are. I just so happened to come across this video because it was sent to me, but had it not been sent to me, I wouldn't even know you were running for president, right? That's another red flag. Then the third red flag, or the fourth red flag, I can't even keep up. He stated that he had closed down 36 prisons. He didn't state whether they were federal or state, but he said he closed down 36 prisons on his own by himself. When we searched that information, only 4 prisons in the state of Texas and in the state of Louisiana have been closed due to budget cuts and state representative members voting to close them. He did not elaborate how he had them closed. He did not state if he was working as a lobbyist against those prisons, but he stated 36. We counted 4 that were due to budget cuts by state representatives. So either he's going to come forward and tell us why he lied about, because those are lies. It has nothing to do with the cadence of how he talks, his Southern accent, or that he's a black man. It's because he is actively lying on the internet. That is why I won't be voting for him. And God only knows if we're going to get another interview. He said he doesn't do interviews. He said he won't publish his credentials. He said he won't publish or show us his philanthropy or his philanthropic work. We don't know shit about this guy because he won't tell us. But he wants my vote. He's not getting my vote. Okay? And this is one interview. This is not a mashup of it. This is one interview. And those are enough pink flags for me. Politicians are already sketchy as it is, okay? Already sketchy as it is. The final red flag is him saying that he's using his own money to run his campaign. That is illegal. It is illegal. It is illegal to use your own money for your campaign if you are not telling us where it came from and how you spent it. I went to the fec.gov. I didn't find any of his disclosure of any of that money and where it came from. So no, he won't be getting my vote. He'll be getting this recap of this interview. That is what he will get. He's not going to get a vote. He's going to get a recap of this interview until he does another interview and he answers those questions. Why have you not filed your FEC filings? Where is that money coming from? That $40,000 you said that was yours. Where did it come from? Why are you not publishing your credentials that you're bragging about? I didn't ask about his credentials. I want to make that clear. I don't know the guy from a can of paint. He bragged about his credentials. Why are you not publishing them for us? Why are you not publishing your philanthropic work? Why are you not doing interviews? He stated in this interview that he only had received 21 cents from the public and he had got backlash, so he sent it back. It costs $2 to $5 billion to run in the general election for president. He's not going to get very far with $36,000. Okay? So there's a lot. So whoever asked that question, great question, but that's why I won't be voting for him. Everybody else, that is your business.
I learned from you, people going to talk, whether you hear or you stretched out of the church or in the ground. People will talk. So I allow them to have their talking spaces. But make sure when you do talk about me, please mention my name that's down there so they'll get to know that name and not the name my family called me. Thank you.
With that being said, I haven't.
Somebody sent me a screenshot. So I have a screenshot of his Okay, so in the clips that I was sent to listen to this interview, I also got a screenshot, and now the screenshot makes sense. The screenshot was of a Cash App tag, so now it's making sense. I'm like, why would I be sent this? This is a Cash App tag. When was he? It was in Miss Nitra's live. When was he crowdfunding in Miss Nitra's live? Because I don't see that in this interview here. So, for the person who sent me that DM or that DM on Instagram, can you tell me when was his Cash App tag published in Miss Leach's live? Because I've watched this full interview. We're almost done. We're not done yet. Don't leave. We're not done. When was it published?
Enjoyed this
At the earlier.
I wanted to open up and allow questions
at the end.
from
Thank
the
you.
audience, but that will only be on the strategy of you and your Rhea, your wife. I look forward to seeing you go further. And when you speak on the prisons, and because I did repeat shut down prisons, I want to make sure I don't leave on a sour note. What exactly did you do in the prison system when you say...
Thank you. She asked a follow-up question about those prisons. Thank you, Miss Nitra. Thank you.
Worked in the prison system.
So I was a CO officer. As a matter of fact, while I'm talking about this, you can actually go look me up. It's John Robert. A lot of people don't know me by John Robert Badger. It's John Robert, which is my first and middle name. And you can pull it. You can actually pull this article up where it shows I shut down Ridgewood Correctional Center. I was a whistleblower.
Okay, Ridgewood Correctional Center. Let's look that up. Okay, he's right. So finally a truth comes out. Okay, so it says John Roberts, a former correctional officer at Ridgewood Correctional Facility, reached out to us to say he's worried about the safety and welfare of the inmates he used to protect. Roberts said he worked at the privately owned prison for a month before being fired, and during that time, he documented everything that he saw. Seeking to bring permanent change to the facility, he claimed that the prisoners were treated like dogs and than human beings. And a quote, John Roberts said, I was taught how to hate them. He tells us that one of his first lessons he learned as a CO, he said, it made me feel horrible. And I thought that I was taught that I could have a pocket knife just in case something went down. He said 2 to 4 weeks I've seen inmates. It was longer than without a shower. An inmate had a seizure. A lieutenant said he was faking it. Inmates under the bed, the inmate on the side of the bed and by the toilet. He said, worst month of my life, but I didn't do it for me. I did it because I seen people in pain, and these prisoners are not protected. Yeah, prisoners are not protected at all. He goes on to say that, or the article by My Arc Mills, it's like a local paper, said that they reached out to them, but they said no comment. They said we referred to the company's lawyer, who is unavailable until Monday. So we also reached out to the Louisiana Department of Corrections, but did not hear back. Now let's look and see if this prison is closed. And let's see why it was closed. Okay, this was an ICE facility. It was a prison. but this is from the general inspector about this place. It was a privately owned prison, but it was an ICE facility. And it was a report by the Inspector General on February 20th of 2023. Now, remember, Robert's report, when he sat down with the news, was in 2018. So even after he became a whistleblower, it still remained open until 2023, but I don't know if it's closed yet. But a report came out in 2023, so I'm not entirely sure. So the report contains 8 recommendations aimed at improving care for the detainees at the ICE facility, which is called Richwood Correctional Facility. The office concurred with all 8 recommendations, that we consider the recommendations to solve and close the 7 recommendations to resolve and open. Once the office has fully implemented these remaining recommendations, please fill out this form in order to basically keep the facility open. And this, you can read this report. They just wrote this report by the Inspector General, but it doesn't say if it's closed or not, but it does say it's a pretty heinous place to send migrants. So let's see if it's open. Well, they have their visiting hours up. I don't know if it's open or not. I mean, it looks open. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, it doesn't say it's closed. It just says hours of operation. I mean, it's closed because it's the weekend, but closed in 2011. I don't know or not. If it was a correctional facility in 2018, because it's privately owned, so it could have become ICE detention because the facility has, the actual facility already exists. So maybe they converted it to an ICE detention, but it's an ICE detention. Ridgewood Ware in Monroe, Louisiana. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't look like I don't want to say it's open. I don't want to say it's closed, but I'm not going to say it's closed. No, I'm on their website. They have hours where you can call detainees. Like, I'm not trying to sound mean or anything. I'm just like, you sent me an email? Okay, let me check. I didn't get it. What email did you send it to? Let me see. That was 2018. I saw that. Thank you for the email. I don't know if you want me to say your name or not, but thank you for the email. But that was okay. Let me break this down so we're not all confused. So he said that he closed down a prison called the Richwood Correctional Center. In 2018, he did sit down with the local news and he was a whistleblower. That was in 2018. It's a privately owned prison, right? So which means if it closes down, it can be repurposed into whatever the fuck they want to repurpose it into. Okay, it's private. According to the ICE website, ICE, in Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement, according to their website, the Ridgewood Correctional Facility is indeed open, but it is an ICE detention facility. So, could he have closed it down as a regular privately owned prison? Yeah, but because they've had violations before him, there were violations, but because it's privately owned, all they did was go to the Inspector General. I showed you the report. The Inspector General in 2013. This is the report. The Inspector General in 2023 said, "Hey, we got some issues with this place. Fix these issues, and you're good as gold." They clearly fixed them because the place is open. Whatever the issues were, I didn't read the article too deep, but whatever the issues they were fixing, they fixed, right? By the Inspector General. So could they have repurposed from a regular prison that just took regular inmates to an ICE facility? Yeah, it's privately owned. They can do whatever they want. So could he say he had a dealing with it closing? Technically, yes. Technically, he's technically correct, right? The good kind of correct, because you're technical about it. But did he close that facility in its entirety? No. The facility is open, and now it is an ICE detention center. So did he close down the prison? Did he have a hand in closing down the prison? Possibly, but they reopened, What about the rest? That's 1 of 36. And technically, it's not really 1 because it's reopened as an ICE detention facility. So I don't know. So he back at 30. He back at 0. Okay, shit. Okay, let's finish out his interview because there's a bit more.
And it talks about more things on that same platform about me shutting down prisons. So what I did was I went in these prisons. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know why I was there. I signed up for a job, and I went up on an investigation. And when I got to the end of my investigation with these prisons, I took every evidence I had. I stacked it against them. I called in the FBI. We worked together to shut these prisons down. And that's what I did.
There you have it.
I want the list. He named 1 that's still open as an ICE detention facility. He named 1. I want to see the other 35 and a half. And if you're a whistleblower, typically, I've never seen whistleblowers use their real names. His name is all over that article. I was like, you're a terrible whistleblower. Because if you had whistleblowed about this facility that was once a prison, now a ICE detention facility, why would you use your real name as the whistleblower? He said he came in and he came out. According to this article, he was fired. Maybe because of the atrocities he was seeing, so he just couldn't do it, so they fired him. Fine, but he made it sound like he quit. No, it sounded like you got fired. So you got hired at 36 prisons? You got hired at 36 prisons?
And I want to say, I think our job here is done. I think that you have said enough. You have given us your vision.
He did.
You have talked about the strategy.
He gave us his vision. You have talked about the pressure
points, and you have talked about your change. I don't believe in allowing for people to pounce on anyone. I want to say thank you. If there's anything else that you would like to leave us with, you can at this time.
Well, as I always say, if you guys want to go out there and support the cause, you guys can go to electjohnbadger.com. Slide down all the way down to the donate page. You guys can donate and help the cause. I also gave you a cash out, Miss Nitra, that you guys can get from Miss Nitra, share it across your platform. You guys can actually start fundraising for our campaign. Understand that our campaign is your campaign. I won't do no more than you can because I'm asking you to help me. So if we helping each other, we can move forward. But if we just sit here waiting on me to do it all, then it won't get done. So if you want to see me in that seat, the action is now. Go handle your business. I appreciate the gifts on TikTok, but I can't pull them off TikTok. I have to come back and give them to somebody else like Miss Nitra for her Daily Heart Needs because it's against the FEC rules. I'm not allowed to accept gifts. So with that being said, those gifts don't help me. I appreciate you, but they don't help me. It's nothing I can do with them. If you want to help me, go out there and do those things for me. And I appreciate that. And we do have signs. If y'all want them, just go on the website and request them. And some of the signs do cost because they're big signs. It's a 4 foot by 8 foot sign. And you can and we do things like that. I'm gonna start reading these comments because some of these people are funny.
Yeah, they're hateful, but one thing I do know, we're used to it. We're used to it. People, the thing is, jealousy is the ultimate.
I found, okay, I had to keep digging on his website. So he does show his philanthropic work on his website. Here he is. Hold on, let me show y'all. So he does show it. I found it. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you got to click on photos. He probably should just make he should probably add this to about him page. So yeah, so here's his work. Look like he's doing food drives here. I'm not sure what that is. What is that? He said, we cry in our communities and care. Oh, it looks like he was at a funeral and then him giving back. And then this last one is a disaster all around. But in America, we don't normalize ignoring. We, the people, fix the problem. And it's just a random picture of a flood. So he doesn't really say if he does anything about this flood. It's just a random picture of a flood. So hold on. Let's see what else we got. So he does show his work. Okay. He said events. His previous event was something that happened August 17th. I'm not entirely sure what that event was, but I don't think it doesn't let you click on it. But okay, so he had an event on August 17th, and then let's see his endorsements. He doesn't have any endorsements. Okay, let's finish his interview.
The people doing the things that you see down here: envy, hate, strife, bitterness. A lot of them probably aren't even registered to vote. So it'll be somebody that has never even went to an election poll. So we just you're tough for this.
The funny thing is they're gonna be the same ones in my inbox asking me what I can do for them.
Exactly.
I get it all the time.
Exactly. Now, do you want to answer any questions from the comment section? Okay, so I will allow it. If it gets disrespectful, you will be dropped by a moderator. There's a lady downstairs that says she needed some help about a kid in prison. I think this was a great interview. I love your energy, and I love that you can look through those comments and you
I'll say this about Miss Nitra. She asked really good questions.
Push forward and stand on what you believe in. These people are hateful on this internet, and that's just what that is. They're just hateful.
I can't see the comments, so I don't know what y'all.
Still welcome up.
Were y'all in these comments? Because I can't see them. They're too tiny. I can't read them.
Hi, Miss Nitra. Hi, everybody. Hello, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. So Miss Nitra and some of her platform know of me because I am real big on prison reform. So I live in the state of California, and you've closed down prisons. Our governor, Gavin Newsom, as you may or may not know,
that's my man,
has closed a lot.
I love me some Gavin Newsom. That's my
lot of private prisons in our state.
It's in our bio. It's too long to say. Just go to our page here. It's in our bio.
He is now implementing real rehabilitation for the men and women who come home from prison.
Right.
What will be your stance in regards to prison reform? Because a lot of the states from your state on east have a lot of private prisons that are money prisons, not state-ran.
It's a great question.
So what will be your stance on that, number one? Number two, when you mention homelessness affects vets, ex-felons, and people with mental conditions. And lastly, the message I'll drop, when you reference the police, a lot of other countries, before officers can become officers, they have psyche evals. And if people don't understand, before an inmate can be released from prison, they have a psyche eval. So what makes them different from the officers who serve us, who are supposed to protect us from them? Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And there are no difference. I appreciate that question. I did used to live in San Bernardino, California. I'm fully aware of, and that's where I got the idea from.
He's lived a lot of places for a 36-year-old. I'm, 39 going on 40. I haven't lived in that many places. He's lived quite a few places.
Come back to Louisiana and actually do that. And that was some good questions. Yes, and the psych files is something that's the.
We're listening to an interview with presidential candidate John. I'm sorry. Let me pull up his page. Sorry. Let me pull up his page so you guys know who we're talking about. Where was his at? Ballotopedia? We're listening to the interview with presidential candidate John Robert Badger, and he was being interviewed by Miss Nitra today. His jacket is everything. This jacket is something else. And we're listening to his interview and, his talking points of being the candidate.
That Miss Nitra is going to be over. That's what she's going to be doing. So that would be a question for her on that part, because I'm allowing her to run her part how she wants to run it. Now, although she will be overseer, yes, she will have to answer to me, but I want to make sure that she's implementing what she wants to implement, to make sure that I don't step on any toes. There's a position for a reason, and because I give that's I'm fully
sorry. I want to hear his answer.
Aware of, and that's where I got the idea from, to come back to Louisiana and actually do that.
Chelsea,
and that was some good questions. Yes, and the psych files is something that's the department that Miss Nitra is going to be over. That's what she's going to be doing. So that would be a question.
What department is Miss Nitra part of his campaign? I don't know if I caught that. I didn't know she's a part of his campaign.
Her on that part, because I'm allowing her to run her part how she wants to run it. Now, although she will be the overseer, yes, she will have to answer to me, but I want to make sure that she's implementing what she wants to implement, to make sure that I don't step on any toes. There's a position for a reason, and because I give that position, don't mean I have to sit there and step around somebody and say, "Oh, this is what you're supposed to know." I allow them to do what they're going to do. That'll be a question for her. But as far as just the Constitution, they're not just taking Constitution classes. We're also doing psych classes in.
I'd have to read into that.
Constitution classes.
I'd have to read into that because, yeah.
This will be a college course that every officer has to take, a college course. And we're going to squeeze in everything that needs to be in there. So we're going to take care of that. I appreciate you for your question.
Yeah.
And to answer that question, now that I can answer it, we talked about this earlier and yesterday. It was actually one of my questions when we went our day before the praise break. We talked about better screenings with.
Okay, so I got one more clip. Give me 2 shakes, okay?
Do you have any past?
Okay, so this is the end of the interview. Shout out to D's TikTok Streets. That's where this clip is from. Shout out to D's TikTok Streets. And this interview is the latter half when she starts letting people on the panel. Somebody by the name of Fountain of Youth joins the panel. She has a question for this person. But I have to really pee, so I'm going to play a little interlude music, if you guys don't mind. Yes, it's going to be Beyonce. No, there are no message requests. Don't ask. Okay. So let me play this little quick break, and then we're going to get back into the other half of this interview. So if you guys just join us, hi, hello, I'm recapping because, this is just what I wanted to do today. This is a presidential hopeful. He goes by the name of John. Hold on, let me pull up his picture. He goes by the name of John Robert Badger, and he's actually sitting down with the interview with Miss Nitra on her panel because I have a background in political science, 2 degrees, might I add, from Elmhurst University. You could look it up. I don't know if you could look it up, but they exist, okay? I was sent these interviews because people wanted my thoughts on it, so I'm giving my thoughts. So John Robert Badger is sitting down with Miss Nitra to discuss his race to the White House, right? Before I go pee, I want to give you guys a couple of quick notes of the part of the interview that we already listened to, what I thought were red flags, and we're going to be entering into the second half of his interview. Okay, so the first red flag that I had about him was not wanting to do interviews. That is concerning. Now, granted, he's doing an interview with Miss Nietzsche, but he seems like he has a history with her. But he said he doesn't do any interviews. So he bragged about that. Like, I don't do interviews. So basically, this is a blessing. That's a red flag. The second, oh, I know I'm showing y'all a blank page. Let me go to the page that actually has all the notes on it. This page. The second red flag that I had about him was not posting the philanthropic work he does. But I take that red flag back because he actually does post. If you go to his website, electjohnbadger.com, I think that's his name. You scroll down to photos, you can see the work that he's done in his neighborhood. So he does post his work. Does he do it often? No, but hey, we got to see what he does. The third red flag that I had for him was his ambiguity on his credentials. He brags about his credentials. Again, I don't care about credentials. I don't think credentials are necessary when running for public office. They're not a requirement to run for public office, but if you're going to brag about them, you got to show us where you got them from. And he's pretty ambiguous about where we can find them. He does not post them on his website. I did not find them. If he did post them on his website, please point me in the right direction. The next red flag I have is him stating that he closed down 36 prisons. We only found proof of half a prison. The prison looked like it was subsequently closed down because it was privately owned, but as early as 2025, it is an ICE detention facility. So did he have his hand in closing down that prison? Possibly, but it's privately owned, so they reopened it as a ICE detention facility. He did state he closed 36 prisons. He only accounted for half of one. So that was another flag that I thought was pretty interesting. And a lot of his talking points in regards to policy, he didn't really understand how HUD works and HUD housing works. He didn't really have an understanding of tariffs. He said, so be it, whatever. If China and Russia, again, we tariff Russia, but Russia, we don't have a whole lot of imports from Russia. He had a very lackadaisical attitude in regard to tariffs. Again, he doesn't have a whole lot of resource information about HUD. Again, this is early presidency. The presidency is not for another 3 years. So maybe in the 5 years, he's going to be able to have more understanding of those things. But those are my red flags from the interview at this point. So I'm going to hit the Beyonce music. Please tap the screen. I just got to pee and we'll be right back. Okay. Okay, we're back. Let's get into the latter half of this interview. Now, he's on the panel, and now Miss Nitra has allowed the Comic Cousins to join in. On the panel now is Foundation of Youth.
Mug shots or any criminal history,
Mug
any
shots.
felonies, ever been to prison, seen somebody went and found a mug shot of you.
Right.
And so
He got a mug shot. What'd he do?
they wanted us to know that you have a mug shot. Would you like to share that with us?
Sure thing. So remember I told you guys, as I was speaking earlier, when I was working in the prison system and when I came out and I told them what I was going to be doing in 2021, 2022, they started pending a lot of things against me. Now, have I been charged with those things? No. Anybody want to go out there and do it, go right ahead. You can do my background checks or whatever y'all like to do. Hey, if you can, it's your money, do it. You'll see that I never ever been charged with anything, but the news media did put out mugshots, which is something else I'm going to do. When a person goes to jail, I'm going to actually stop news media from intervening until a person has been charged. Because what people don't know out here in Louisiana, they get paid for that. They get paid to put your shots out there, and during that time, if y'all...
First of all, before he starts getting into the yip yapping, what was he charged with? Is the question. What was he? You said got evicted, refused to leave, and abused. Please get out of my comments. Nobody abused chickens. Now you're lying. Stop. Just stop. I'm not about to read into that. Just stop lying and tell me what he did. You said Susu knows 9 chickens. It's true. Oh God, not choking chickens.
Do the math. I was actually running for District 1 and District 5 House Senate when they done that. So of course they're gonna do that.
You're cute.
And may I mention, we do have a felon as the president of the United States with several mugshots. Did we forget Donald Trump is a convicted now?
Very true. Very true.
Felon. I land my plane. I land my plane. Miss Felon of You, thank you for coming up to the platform. How can we help you?
Thank you for having me, Miss Nitra. Good afternoon, Mr. Candidate for President.
It's from Nespresso. It's the espresso machine. They have a merch store. Leave me alone. They have a merch store here in Scottsdale. And I went to the merch store and I saw this and I thought it was cute, so I bought it. This is decaf chai tea with milk. It's delicious. But yeah, yes, y'all, they have a merch store and I go there.
My question to you is, you basically answered one of the questions when you said that you ran for state representative, I believe. So it sounds like you have been trying to run for offices in the local arena. Is that correct?
Yes, more than once.
Can you name a few? Can you name a few offices that you ran for?
I just ran for District 1 and District 5 congressman.
You just ran?
No,
okay.
No, I ran 2021, 2019, and 2021 to 2022. It's a 2-year run.
And how close was you in the runnings?
I lost my child.
He lost his child. He said that earlier.
Okay.
So if you're trying to pull up his background too, I'm gonna have to drop you.
So his child passed and he ended up having to drop out of the race, which is unfortunate.
He lost his child, so he dropped out. He told us that earlier.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't on, so I'm sorry I didn't get that part.
We're going to just go and take you downstairs. I'm sorry. Respectfully, just because y'all are in doubt today, I will not allow for this man to be disrespected. Go do your homework, okay? At this point, fec.gov. fec.gov.
I want to make it really clear. fec.gov is just for campaign finance. It is not for anything else at all. It is not, and he knows that. And the fact that he is deliberately releasing that information as though you can go to fec.gov and get all my information. No, and he knows you can't. He knows the FEC is for federal elections campaigns. It is specifically for money. It is specifically for money. That is it. And when we went to fec.gov, he has not, maybe because the filings aren't due yet. So that's not on his part. That's really just on the timing. It's like tax season. The filings may not be due yet, so we don't get to see his filings yet. But when he does, we will look at them. Okay. But he knows that the FEC is simply for his campaign finance. It is not for anything else at all. So that person who was on the panel who just wasn't aware of him running for his previous seats, he doesn't mention his previous seats on his website. And he doesn't mention why he dropped out. Again, it has nothing to do with his child who passed away, but it's important information for your voters. Your voters need to know, why did you drop out of those races? Because my child passed away. And that's okay, right? He has to talk about those things. He cannot obfuscate anything. We're talking about running for the leader of the free world, running for the highest seat in office. You cannot just be like, oh, I just want to talk about that. I ran and it didn't work out. You can't do that. Because those are your potential voters. You cannot do that. And those are sound bites that he's making. That is what he has to understand. It's not just about, I don't want to answer that question. If you're saying these things on live stream, on live camera, you have made sound bites that will be easily, I got them. They were sent directly to me. They will be easily found by the media. And I'm a big person in the media, at least on TikTok, right? So you don't want those sound bites floating around of you disregarding constituents. These are your constituents. Every single person in the chat over on this live stream when it took place is your voting constituent. You cannot disregard them regardless of their seedy, ridiculous, evasive questions or goofy questions. You just can't just be like, all right, be gone. You can't do that. You can't just tell people to be gone because you just don't want to answer it. You can't do that. That's you're creating bad sound bites and you're disregarding your voting block.
If there's any other information that you all need, you can go search him. You have went and found his mug shots. Y'all have done too much. I will not let this man sit here and be tormented with you hellions from TikTok. That is it. You should have led with your question, ma'am. I'm sorry. You should have led with your question. Instead, he had to tell you he lost the child. With that being said, Mr. President, at this time, there are no further questions from you that we will need, and you have a blessed and wonderful day.
I thank you so much. And if anybody out there that want to, share those mugshots with me, I want y'all to know there is actually an ongoing $4.5 million lawsuit going on with people being added to that list for sharing that mugshot because that's false information. Y'all have a blessed day.
That you can't. So not only are you not answering your constituents' questions, but you're telling them if they share your mugshot, which is public, it's a public mugshot, regardless of if those charges stuck or not. If you don't want your mugshot published, you expunge it using the current legal system that we have. You cannot sue people because you got wrapped up in some legal dealings. I know this because I've also had a mugshot, but I paid to expunge. I've told you guys this plenty of times. I paid to have my mugshot expunged, and it cost me $5,000. It's very expensive, but you got to do what you got to do. Okay. I was also really fat. This was like probably like 18 years ago. Okay. I never got charged with anything, but I didn't want that motherfucking mugshot floating around. And I had a really great attorney. I had a fantastic attorney, and he was like, look, you pay this extra, I'll have it expunged. And I shit you not. After I paid him that, and after the case got thrown out, after it got thrown out, the next day when I typed in my name on that website search, that motherfucking mugshot was gone. It was fucking gone. And the only way that I can get a copy of that mugshot is I have to fly to that county and I have to go to the federal courts because it was a level 3 expungement, which means that only I and a federal court judge can view it. No one else can see it. The police can't see it. No one can see it. Only individuals who work at the federal government, so FBI agents can see it, and federal court judges. No regular court judge can see it. No one can see it. Nobody, because that's how much it costs. You can get higher expungements. You can get it expunged at the federal level. You can go higher. I didn't have the fucking money. But him talking about suing people for a fucking mugshot is crazy. Your daddy the feds? Don't ask him to look it up. Don't ask him to look it up. It's illegal. But now that's illegal, right? Because again, only I and federal agents can look it up. But it's just there's just different tiers of expungement. That's all, you guys. But you can only get, now mind you, I want to make this clear. You can only get your mugshot expunged if it doesn't lead to a conviction. That is it. You cannot get a mugshot expunged if it led to a conviction. The only reason why mine didn't got expunged is because it didn't lead to a conviction. The whole case got thrown out because that nigga was lying. We'll get to that story on another day, okay? But he was lying, okay? So the case ended up getting thrown out, so much so that even the prosecutor quit. The prosecutor quit after my case, which is crazy work, right? And she ended up going into private law. I told you it's a good story too. I'll tell it one day. So, but him talking about, I'm gonna sue people. I'm gonna a $4.5 million lawsuit because you have that mugshot. Nigga, don't get the mugshot. Y'all, I've lived 30 lives, I swear.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Did I beat him up? A little bit.
I'm gonna drop you. Okay. And I know y'all said, I read the comment that he gonna have to have thicker skin than that. But what I'm not gonna do today is just sit here and go and make his skin be thick just because.
What did he sue Motel 6 for? Golly.
I want to get a fulfillment out of it. Okay, opportunity knocked. I'm not going to take the opportunities that God give me to get pleasure from y'all or to give pleasure to you all. So at the end of the day, he just lost a family member yesterday. He lost his family member. And he's suffering almost the loss of another one. What y'all want to do, I'm not going to let you do. Yeah, we know he built tough for it, but I'm not going to let y'all do what y'all do on TikTok. It was a good interview, and we got what we asked for. Period. And that's just how I'm over here. Yeah, well, he shared enough of his time. His wife been down there.
Now, somebody said he comes back to this interview. Is that true or not? Does he come back to this interview? He does? Okay, so should I just play this out? Okay, I'll play it out. Now, currently on the panel is somebody by the name of Favorite Nephew and Miss Nitra. He did drop.
Fighting the whole live. Y'all have interrogated and been disrespectful to her. Moderators should not have had to block nobody. So at the end of the day, if y'all didn't get enough, hopefully you'll get an interview with him. It was great for me. We had a good time.
That's good yellow? Okay.
It was very good for me. But what I'm not going to let y'all do is keep thinking y'all going to do what you do great over here. Thank y'all. I enjoyed it. It was fun, but I could tell which way it was getting ready to turn.
She asked really good questions.
Yes, daughter. I knew which way it was getting ready to turn. Now y'all done send pictures of the man mugshot and all that. We ain't doing that today. Okay? Y'all too grown to be so miserable. Respectfully. Yeah, y'all done went and chased him down. Can't believe he running for president. Don't want to see him run for president. He a black man running for president. Y'all done went and found the man mugshots. Now y'all don't nobody knowing for where he stay and all that shit. That's embarrassing. Ain't no way y'all on the fucking phone asking nobody who this man is. All that shit, I don't respect none of that. I don't respect, because if you do that shit for him, you'll do it against me. All that calling to see your uncle, I don't do that shit. That's weird behavior. Don't call asking no nigga who I am. Yeah. Stay up.
So, Ms. Nitra, you do understand that he's running for office, right?
I do understand that. I do.
Okay, so if he's running for office, he should be able to take these questions and answer them.
True. Now, that's somebody by the name of Quantum Stereo Radio. He's absolutely correct. If you're running for office, you got to be able to take the heat. Take the heat or get out the kitchen. That's a really great point that this person's making.
He didn't say he couldn't take them. I said I wasn't going to allow it. It's a difference.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's running for office. He's running for the highest office in the land. So he should be able to tell us basically about his history. He should be able to tell us. He talked about Medicare, Medicaid, and everything else. He should be able to tell us about immigration. He should be able to tell us.
You did. You must have come in. He talked about that. He missed the immigration.
No. I listen. He told part of it. He should be able to tell us what is he going to do to rectify this constitutional crisis.
Why didn't you come up here with your question? Why didn't you come up here with your question, sir?
Because I was listening. But when you start talking about,
you had opportunity. You had opportunity to come up here and ask your question. Did you not?
Ma'am, I want to listen.
You had opportunity. Who are you, by the way? Because I ain't never saw you over here. You had opportunity.
Listen, I don't need to be over here, Ms. Nietzsche. Right?
You had opportunity to tell your ass. Bye.
Technically, y'all know I love Miss Nitra, but technically, Miss Nitra, we got to be real. Nobody really got an opportunity to ask questions. That man split. He did. No one really got an opportunity to ask him those key questions because he dipped out. After somebody asked him about his office, he made a statement and said, well, I didn't run, or I dropped out of the race because my child passed away. And then he left. And it's like, that's not an offensive question. That is not an offensive question. People want to know, how did that election go? They want to know, how did that election go? And you can't be offended because people ask you that. Unfortunately, tragedy does happen. It happens all the time. Okay? But you still have to stand in what occurred. My child passed away and I dropped out of the election. And then the lady got dropped. Why did she get dropped? She should be able to ask him about that campaign. Point blank, period. Like, okay, well, your child did pass away, but tell me a little bit about your campaign strategy going into that. And why did you switch from running running for a district to president? Like, where's the switch come from? You didn't even successfully win those elections. Granted, your child passed away and you dropped out. So why didn't you rerun? Why did you switch completely? That would have been my follow-up question, regardless of the untimely death of his child. And I'm sorry about that, but we're talking politics here. You cannot obfuscate those questions simply because it's a touchy subject. Okay, they're touchy, but you have constituents who you have to sway as voters. He's not swaying a whole lot of people.
I don't know you. Let me tell y'all something. You could have came up here. You had opportunity when I opened up the doors to come up here and talk to him like a man. Now you think you're going to scream at me through the phone, but you're not. Bye. Interview is over.
Hey, Miss Nitra.
No, Nitra. Come on. What you mean, interview over? Miss Nitra. Come on. These are the voters. I can see if this guy was running in a district no one lived in. Maybe a couple of your, FOE members and viewers are in his district. He's talking about the president of the United States. What do you mean interview? Come on, Miss Nitra.
Good morning. Well, good afternoon. I'm sorry.
Should have came.
He should have came in a political viewpoint when he was up here. He was explaining, and then you would have came up here. Miss Nitra would have let you up quantum. I'm part of political TikTok. I would have started answering questions because it seems like you sound like a MAGA.
Tasha said Donald Trump wouldn't even speak to these niggas. Okay, y'all want to sit
up and that's that. Donald Trump.
You hear me, favorite nephew? Y'all get opportunity to talk to somebody. Donald Trump wouldn't have damn one of y'all on nothing. Like, y'all treat black people so bad, your own kind. That's what's embarrassing, is the way y'all treat your own people. Like, he didn't do enough over here for y'all. Y'all want to know how your child, I bet somebody was waiting. Is she going to ask how the child passed? Y'all them type of people, not me. Y'all them type of people, and it's so sad. Y'all want me to sit and just go all the way down through his history. Oh, I wonder what happened to the child. Not my business.
But nobody asked that.
Donald Trump wouldn't sit nowhere and have tea with y'all. Y'all own people, you can't stand to see even try to make it. All y'all black people that sat in this live, talk bad about that man, came up here ready to tear him apart. Ain't none of y'all gonna stand and try to help push him where y'all think he not at. Instead, y'all done went and found 411, y'all done went and found his background. Not saying you for one, I just see you in the comments. Y'all done went and found the man background. Y'all done went and tried to talk bad done sent shit while the man sitting over here, and what y'all want to see me do is now belittle him. But I'm the type of female to try to help push, not you.
Now I get Miss Nitra's sentiments, right? She seems like she is supporting this candidate, but based off of his answers alone, he needs a follow-up interview. Based off of his answers alone, thank you, Bree, thank you. He's got to have a follow-up interview because there's a lot of questions, and I'm telling you this as a person with 2 degrees in political science from Elmhurst University. Okay, 2. He has a lot of questions that he needs to answer. There are too many. He put out too much kerfuffle, and he cannot run away. Unfortunately, he has dug this hole and he has to stand in it. Okay.
One. But where y'all support at? Make the shit make sense. All y'all that think he ain't got enough to make it, why don't y'all stand behind him so he can be enough? See, because y'all think y'all the shit. So if y'all get behind him so he'll be what the fuck y'all think he not.
Now, could people support him and help him with his speech writing, getting him to understand policy a bit better? Yes. Will people be able to help him with his murky credentials and his questionable statements about the president being an illegal migrant and him closing 36 prisons? No, he's got to answer for those things. Even if you take out his cadence and how he talks, right? Because he's Southern. Even if you take that out, even if you take out his choppy answers on tariffs and Medicare and stuff, that's fine. Those can be worked out through teaching him about policy and international relations, right? Take that out of the picture. If we just focus on some of the things he said, he's still a questionable individual. Where did the $40,000 comes from that he is using for his campaign? Where are his credentials? Why does he not sit down for interviews? Name all 36 prisons that he closed. Even if you just take out everything else, Those are the main things that he needs to answer for. Regardless of everything else can be smoothed over and cleaned. Like, okay, you don't really understand HUD. We're going to give you a crash course on HUD like that. Okay, you don't really understand tariffs. Let's give them a crash course on tariffs. We're going to work on your speech and your cadence, and we're going to be able to get you to the debate stage like that in no time. But you're going to have to answer for the other things. The mugshot I've never seen, but maybe answer for the mugshot. And getting defensive about the mugshot is kind of questionable. It's kind of questionable, right? He's saying, oh, we're going to sue the news because the news gets paid to publish your mugshots. Yeah, but you can also pay to fucking expunge your mugshot. And were you convicted of that? If you were convicted of it, that mugshot is going to be on the internet forever. And that's fine. Maybe just explain that. Just be like, look, I got caught up in whatever choking chickens or whatever. I don't know what the fuck he was charged with. Just explain it and move on, right? Explain the 36 prisons. Explain everything else. He's not explaining stuff. So that's what makes him questionable. Not the other stuff, but the chickens and the mugshot and the murky credentials. He said he's going to Harvard to get his PhD, but how are you getting a PhD in Harvard while living in Monroe, Louisiana? And then he said he went to Penn State. Did you move to Pennsylvania? Like, I was confused on that part. He's not explaining those things. Like, how did you get, he said he's going to Harvard to get his PhD in law. Does he mean going to Harvard Law School? Or does he mean getting like a PhD and like going after and get it? Like, he's not explaining this stuff. Online, maybe, but the nigga won't sit still long enough to answer the questions. You're going to law school? What did you get? What was your LSAT score? That's what I want to know. Well, what'd you score on the LSAT? This is a simple question. What did you score on the LSAT? I've taken the LSAT twice. What did you score on it? You know, like he won't sit still long enough to get the questions out.
Cause y'all so got it all together. Why don't some of y'all Ruby Screwjets come stand behind him so he can be that y'all think he not? Instead, y'all sit on this internet, talk bad about him, go look up his history and all that, but won't none of you stand with him.
And I feel bad for Miss Nitra because, like, you know, I can see her loyalty and her passion behind this guy, but she's putting her I'm just going to be honest with you. I think she's putting her passion in the wrong individual. He's not the right candidate to put this passion behind. Point blank, period. He's got too many questions he needs to come back to her platform to answer to. Too many. And I don't want her to give this much energy, and turns out this guy is just using